Welcome to Slopbusters. This is the fourth and perhaps final episode. I am Bruno, and today we have the fourth entry in George Romero's Dead trilogy, a film long in the making. Many people were expecting a masterpiece, but I would say we ended up with an abortion. And today we have
A piece of shit movie.
yeah, so
Good timing there, Terry.
yeah.
As always, I'm Terrapin, aka Terry.
I'm Randall,
And I'm Cheeseburger Meister.
and together we're the Powerpuff Boys.
No, no.
Oh god, this intro is going terribly.
It is, yes.
Yeah, it's good to have
No,
a
it's
few.
still better than that CW spinoff of Powerpuff Girls.
Wasn't that like made by a pedophile?
I think,
That's-
yeah, they all were. So.
Of course.
Yeah. So today's episode is Land of the Dead. It is the fourth entry in George Romero's Dead series. The Dead series has been considered the horror equivalent of Star Wars. You know, it was a big pop culture phenomenon. It changed the game, big box office, changed the landscape of everything. Yeah, I mean, Night of the Living Dead introduced the modern zombie movie and everything. Dawn of the Dead, huge box office hit, independent hit as well. Also changed the landscape of gore in movies because it was a double whammy of Dawn of the Dead in 1978, Friday the 13th in 1980, that finally made gore in horror movies mainstream. Because believe it or not, horror movies were mostly released as PG. You know, they thought to be mainly made for children. And then it was movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Dawn of the Dead, Friday the 13th, Halloween that introduced the teenagers and adults. So
Yeah.
huge
Right.
influence, the trilogy.
Yeah, and just like Star Wars, the later films all become CGI riddled crap nobody likes.
Exactly. Unfortunately, this is Land of the Dead is the episode equivalent to episode 1 for sure. You know,
Sadly, though, this is the most watchable one because I
Yeah.
fucking
barely.
hate the next two in this so-called trilogy.
It's kind of the inverse of the Star Wars prequels because, like, the third one, Revenge of the Sith, that's considered the most watchable one. So it's like the last one of the prequels is the best, but just barely. And like the first of the new trilogy, Ray Romero is the best, but just because of its low bar.
Yeah, this Bruno, you described this as the Star Wars prequels of horror
yeah.
movies, and
And
not
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
To be fair-
that's easily an apt description.
To be fair, it's not as bad as Disney Wars, so I'll give it that
Okay.
much, you know?
Yeah.
It did
I mean,
ruin
but-
characters we've established, so
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
say that
true. So it's already
Yeah.
better. But
slightly better.
Fuck, I walked out of The Last Jedi.
I didn't even fucking see that thing. I knew the sequels were gonna be shit.
I don't even like Star Wars. I just like watching the trash fire for that thing.
To be fair,
Right.
Anyway,
so,
speaking of
Land of the Dead.
yeah, let's get into the fucking movie already.
So I just want to set this up here, okay? So, Day of the Dead comes out 1985. It was kind of like the redheaded bastard child of the trilogy, but it's been appreciated years since. It's my personal favorite. Other people come out and said it's their favorite of the trilogy. So ever since then, we were waiting for the fourth movie. Like everyone and their mother was waiting for the fourth movie. We thought it was gonna
Desperately
happen in the
waiting.
90s. Yep, we thought it was going to happen in the
Yep.
90s. We thought Romero was going to direct a Resident Evil movie around 90.
I remember the news,
99.
everything. People
Yeah.
couldn't stop talking about it.
Yeah, everyone was literally talking about that horror fan. It's even referenced in Uwe Boll's, what was it, House of the Dead. There was a horror fan there talking about the fourth movie and everything. And the fourth movie was supposed to be called Twilight of the Dead originally, and a little bit of
That's
trivia.
awful.
Yeah, well, I like Twilight of the Dead, but a little bit of trivia. So Lucio Fulci, he made City of the Living Dead in 1980, one of his one of his zombie masterpieces and everything. It's released in America in 83, but the original title for the re-release in America was Twilight of the Dead. But Romero's lawyers got wind of this and, had the distributors change the title to Gates of Hell. But the original poster art with the Twilight of the Dead title still got out there. So we know that the Twilight of the Dead idea had been gestating since at least 83 or so, perhaps around the time Dawn of the Dead was being made. So that's how long this whole thing with the fourth movie had been, gestating, and everyone was anticipating.
Amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. So, but anyway, none of that fucking relevant.
No.
You walk. Let's say you're going into the fucking theater on opening day. You've been waiting for decades for this. You're going to see it, and
Yeah.
then the opening credits play, and you
That's
get
me,
the
basically.
overview. The zombie outbreak has destroyed civilization.
To be
And
fair, I think
Burgermeister, describe the opening scene, the
I
first
absolutely.
real scene.
Oh, I'd absolutely love to describe the opening sequence, which immediately reminded me of a classic on sci-fi I once watched. Something about Cerberus or some crap, but I love it when I see something that I can watch on cable in my movie theater. That's great. That's one of my favorite things.
It is
So anyway,
so
we got an opening sequence, and we start off with zombies shambling down the street. It's, it's kind of classic too, like Day of the Dead. It's like, hey, everything looks quiet. Maybe it's not so bad. But then, like, zombies, they're still around. They're still shambling and shuffling about. So we've got these zombies, and they're trying to be like people. And it's absolutely awful. I can't stand it. Just watching them do everyday normal stuff would be kind of all right until we get to the gazebo. And they are packed in it like fucking sardines. And one of them is playing the goddamn tuba. And that right there just tells me, is this going to be a fucking comedy? That's immediately what I think.
Yep.
So anyway, as we pan across these different zombies doing classic zombie trope shit, like acting like boyfriend and girlfriend, and just doing everyday street crap, we come across two survivors hiding over in the bushes as the titular zombie of the film, our poster boy, Big Daddy, comes in the scene. And Big Daddy, he's maybe reminiscent of his previous life because even if a zombie, came back from a dead corpse, he's dressed as a mechanic and he's hanging out at a gas station. So he's drawn towards something he understands. But every day he goes outside and plays with the gas pump and no fuel comes out because obviously any fuel that was ever left has been drained out of every pump. And or because it's gasoline, doesn't last forever. So our survivors are watching, having a little conversation, a little exposition. We learn that they have their own terminology for the zombies. They call them stenches. And
No. Yeah.
yes, and our Riley character, who was our anti-hero, like Mr. Too Cool
I
to
call him
Fool.
just a vanilla guy. Just
Yeah,
guy.
he's pretty vanilla. That's very
Yeah.
good, vanilla guy. He's clearly the smart guy because later we find out he builds the titular Dead Reckoning, but he's analyzing the zombies and he's making some pretty obvious speculations, like they're acting like they're normal. Zombie spots them, they got to go run. And that's when we come across our next anti-hero of the film, because every good movie has two anti-heroes. John Lasagna Burrito. I mean, Leguizamo.
Luigi from the Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, good old
Yeah.
Luigi.
Luigi. Luigi? No, Luigi Mario.
Yeah,
Or
this is
the
this
star
is
of House of Buggin'.
this is a
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers reunion movie
It is.
because
Oh, yes, 'cause
it's got two characters from it in here.
Two alumni, if you want to call
Yeah.
it that, I
Yeah.
guess.
we just
Yeah.
need Bob Hoskins.
So we find out that the survivors in the zombie world, they go out on raid trips in the middle of the night, and here we're introduced to what was supposed to be the original name of the film, which was Dead Reckoning. But the truck is named Dead Reckoning, and as I mentioned, I thought that was stupid. You can't have the name of the truck be the name of the movie, because then it makes you think the movie is supposed to be about the truck.
Yeah.
So I remember being younger and seeing this truck and thinking, wow, this thing looks awesome. But in our viewing of today, it's like, wow, this looks like shit.
It's funny, like the whole opening scene. If you compare and contrast to Day of the Dead, that whole city filled with zombies. It was so.
Watch that scene completely without any idea of anything that had just happened before with the opening sequence.
Oh yeah.
You might think you're watching a Mad Max film. We've now built up to the point where we see our Mad Maxers. We have our young, hotshot kid who's ready to prove his way or whatever. And this is where we're going to be leading into the commentary in the film. And when I say commentary in the film, I mean the one of like the what, 30 commentaries?
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
pockmarked.
Romero made the film in response to the second Bush
Yeah.
administration.
This is like somebody who made raisin bread and they used way too many fucking raisins. Let's just say that.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got everyone's going around, they're collecting supplies and stuff, and John Leguizamo here, he's our he wants to make some money, which in the future is hilarious that people still believe paper money and all that stuff. We talked about the dirty money and everything, like the literally dirty money thing I had to complain about.
Yeah.
So he goes off on his own little thing because he wants to kiss up to the big Mr. K, Mr. Kaufman, I want to say.
Yeah,
Kaufman
that's the name of
sounds
the
right.
character.
Yeah, Mr. Kaufman. I can't believe how many characters' names in this film I'm actually remembering for once. Usually I just give them horrible nicknames.
Yeah.
Kaufman is,
So-
of course, played by the great Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper, who-
looking for a paycheck.
I really wish he would have. I really wish he would have channeled a little more King Koopa from Mario Brothers, but you know,
Give me that Devo gun! Monkey!
you can't get that twice ever in existence. Who also, by the way, has a great scene that we'll bring up later on. Love his scene with that because it's just one of the most deliciously evil things ever. A young protege, zombie hunting kid out there, and he's like, they go in a liquor store. We have an incursion, little stuff, little fight, and yes, someone's gonna have to get bitten because we have to have the whole. Oh no, the poor kid, because you know they didn't give him a name, so he's not
They have
important.
to reestablish the zombie rules.
Yeah, gotta always remember. Yeah, and the kid freaking out, you know, blows his brains out, and the blood's all over the glass. And the next scene it's on because the guy forgot to re-edit it back into the shot every time, which is
What I find interesting is that they had to reestablish that, right? But let's just say you're watching this, you just know it's zombie movie, whatever. You didn't see Day of the Dead, you'd be confused. Like, why the fuck is Big Daddy smart? Like, that's never been established.
Yeah.
If you saw Day of the Dead, you'd still be confused because, like, in Day of the Dead, it was made clear Bub, who was a smart zombie, was worked on by a scientist. He was taught to do
trained.
shit. Yeah. So it still doesn't make any sense in context, out of context, the whole thing with Big Daddy.
Yeah, I quoted his line, but I forgot what it was. It was no, not that one. Not Big Daddy's line. The scientist's line. He had that one line he always talked about every time he did something with Bub.
You have to reward them. There has to be a reward.
But that was a great film. But we can't talk about the great one. We have to talk about this one.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's fitting to make the comparison because it is the fourth.
Well,
film.
Dawn of the Dead does establish that zombies have like dim recollections of their previous lives.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the whole,
So I mean, it's not
thing, like,
too
why,
out of the pale, and they do kind of set it up that the zombies are slowly getting more intelligent.
very, very poorly.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very poorly.
They make an attempt.
It actually makes kind of a strange connection to Marvel zombies. No, I'm sorry. I am gonna go completely off trail here, guys. Just for a sec.
Uh-oh.
In the original Marvel Zombies comic run, the Marvel zombies, when they were consumed by the hunger, could not think straight or rationally at all. But once they had consumed some flesh, they actually regained their coherence of who they were. They could actually understand things. They had a slight time of control before the appetite slowly started coming back and took over their mind again. They still understood who they were, but once you had the appetite, you couldn't deny it.
This
However,
little side brought to you by Disney, by the way.
Yeah. Sorry, Disney. But no, in that same kind of thing, it's like maybe these zombies just went so long without eating food that they just kind of went on a hunger. Like they just went so long without the food, they forgot the part where they have to eat.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think so.
I know. I'm overthinking this for the
that's a
sake of the
stretch.
movie. I'm
That's
doing
a
too
stretch.
much for the movie's sake because the movie does nothing for the viewers.
Yeah.
Because as we watch this zombie die, and I mentioned the CGI blood, that's unfortunately a running theme throughout this movie, is that the visuals are just so sporadic.
Yeah.
Like you have like some beautiful gore shots, which I'm sure I want to see you edit some of those in. We might have to actually censor them or something.
Yeah.
But because some of them are gorgeous.
Yeah. There's a few of them where I actually like looked away. There's one shot that I just gave me that kind of visceral reaction.
Yeah, it's like
the gore effects. They were handled by K&B Effects, who worked on Day of the Dead. They were apprentices. The apprentice under Tom Savini. So it's kind of like a big reunion and everything. So
Yep,
everything
who
came
does
full
have
circle.
a cameo in this.
Yes,
he does.
Tom
Yes,
Savini, who played Blades in Dawn of the Dead, comes back as a zombie in this film.
yeah.
The one moment where I went fanboy, like I stood up and I clapped.
Sad, so fucking sad.
I know.
Yep.
Anybody applauding this movie alone is like, there's
It,
something wrong with these
it
people.
triggers the memories deep within my hippocampus, and it makes the neural pathways release dopamine, and it makes
Right.
me feel good. I recognize it.
Right, and like on the visuals, then we have like it's like the starter visuals, like the number one ones obviously in the film are all the practical ones. The practical ones are beautiful.
Yeah,
And
like
then we
the
have
Mad Maxed out vehicles and costumes are great. I
and
love
then we
that
got
shit.
like the second tier visuals, which is the bad CGI bloodshots. Like people get
Yeah.
hit and you just see like
Yeah.
the bleh, the bleh. It just looks like sad
You
and
got that
pathetic.
After Effects blood splash plug-in bullshit. A lot
But
of that.
then there's like the shit tier, the shittiest tier. And this is the one where the zombie is clearly superimposed on a background that looks blurry. And then we just watch them get shot with a bunch of fake CGI bullets and there's like a fake head explosion or something. And we'll save the head one for later because that one was
Oh yeah,
that one was special.
Yep.
Especially bad.
I mean,
But
the idea behind that effect. I mean, it kind of goes back to Day of the Dead when we saw the zombie without a jaw, who was called Doctor Tongue, but it was done so poorly in this film.
yeah,
You
it's
keep going
oof.
back. It's just like the Star Wars prequels. Like, oh, it's a reference to this other thing done worse.
Yeah.
Basically.
After we've gotten the kid blows his brains out because he doesn't want to turn into one of them. You know, we have our titular two anti-heroes clashing against each other because every film needs two anti-heroes to bounce off of each other constantly. Because not only are they anti-heroes, but they're like the leader and the second in command and stuff. But John Leguizamo introduces us that he's not going to take over when his boss retires. He's got bigger plans, which we find out later when they get back to Fiddler Green. Fiddler Green in the film is a zombie-proof city. I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see them because we're talking on headsets. But lots of air quotes here when I talk about protection and stuff, because here's more of the social commentary the film loves to shove down your throat, as it's electrified fences everywhere that keep out the zombies.
Except for
But
other parts where it's just like some cheap wood is a setup, or
oh yeah, of course.
there's a
Oh, yeah.
fucking there's just a fucking river that keeps them away. Even
Yeah,
though
it's actually surrounded by 3 rivers.
yeah,
But
even
yeah,
though
we should,
it was never established in the other movies that zombies don't swim. It was
Yes.
never established it whatsoever. It was established that fire keeps them away or scares them to some
yes,
extent.
like Frankenstein monsters. Fire
Exactly.
bad, fire bad. I would have liked one of those. I'm not saying I would turn that down because, like I said, this movie can't decide if it's a comedy or an action film.
Yeah, exactly.
So our titular, all these characters, you know, Riley, fucking John Leguizamo's Cholo, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure, as everyone mentioned, constantly throughout the course of the film, it's a slur,
Yeah.
not a slur, but it's definitely an insult or something. Because this movie, for whatever reason, because we don't get any timeline between zombie apocalypse starting and where we are now.
It
Like,
can be assumed it's maybe 5 years, maybe
okay,
10
but
years
5
after
years,
9/11.
sure, but for some reason, we've already reached a point in society where we stop giving each other normal names and start picking like Pillsbury
Yeah.
and Remichaud, and it's like,
So probably like a
58.
generation or two, a generation or something.
Possibly,
Yeah,
but
it's
But
gotta
I don't.
something
It's
like
not
that.
established.
yeah.
Yeah, because you can't tell me that like they're still going out shopping and they're finding complete pallets where by the way, product placements ahoy in this film, like Pringles and fucking, you can't tell me that stuff lasted forever.
Yeah, like the timeline goes like Night of the Living Dead starts, Dawn of the Dead takes place maybe a day or two after the events of Night, and then we fast forward. We see our main
Stop
character
trying to
over-
establish any sort of timeline. Each movie
Yeah,
exists in
yeah.
its own little canon and shouldn't really.
This movie took place the day after the day.
They're
of
all
the Dead.
movies that deal with zombie outbreaks, but they don't really have any continuity.
Right.
But it references fucking Tom Savini as Blades, so he's a really well preserved zombie. If he's been running around for like 10 years or so.
Right. So we're back in the city, and well, more of that commentary where like the poor are literally like living in the street, eating like dirt and with their fingers and
Yeah.
scraps, while the rich are, for whatever reason, once again brought up, is like they're up in their beautiful tower and they're shopping, which makes no sense because it's not like they're getting new materials in.
Well,
So
how the fuck are they maintaining that? That's my problem with this movie's world building. It's really, really shitty.
They never
Like
established
how
how
do
they're getting
the
electricity.
how do the elite maintain themselves? Do they
It's a
have some sort
game.
of
It's all a game. Here, all we know is that Mr. Kaufman is the person who's in charge. And I think what he did was is that you basically bought your way in by literally giving him all of your money. And but you
In a new society where zombies run around, so money could be completely valueless.
yeah, it
as
doesn't
long
make
as long as
sense.
he holds all the money, they get to stay in the tower.
Yeah.
Like Fury Road has it's a concept similar to this. Class society in a
Yeah.
rising out of a post-apocalyptic world, but
Right.
it makes sense. There's a warrior cast. There's kind of a
Yeah.
middle cast of engineers and doctors, and then there's
Cast.
the poor.
Right. And this film really pushes the poor as being the poorest possible poor to poor.
But
And
Romero fucks up the commentary by later showing that the poor have like their zombie arena fighting and they throw people into a cage to fight zombies.
yeah,
Which I mean,
exactly.
presumably these are the poor that you're supposed to be rallying for.
Yeah.
he fucks up. He fucks up his own commentary.
Right.
It's that thinly veiled contempt for the masses.
Yeah.
Which at this point in the film, John Leguizamo has made his way up to Mr. Kaufman, thinking that all the money he's earned from doing all his work, dirty work, was ever going to buy him a room in the deluxe Fiddler Green. Of course, it never was, and then his fifis get hurt. At this point, the movie has had the absolutely slowest plot. It feels
Yeah,
like you've
this
been
movie
watching it
is
for like
fucking slow.
It feels like you've been watching it for 45 minutes and nothing's happening.
Pretty much.
So we get some hurt feelings. We get another shot with the zombies. The zombies have now made their way towards Fiddler Green, and they came across, as you mentioned, one of those shit fences. And they start beating the shit out of it with a meat cleaver, which I guess if it's old and wet and waterlogged, yeah, you could probably beat through it with the meat cleaver, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, it was like some piece of shit, like wood. Wood. It was like some really thin
Particle
kind of
board,
wood.
basically.
Particle board,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's apparently kept out the zombies all this time.
Also, it's funny. I mean, Big Daddy, he could just. I mean, apparently he's just a wonderkind when it comes.
There
to
is no thought process. It's like this man immediately knows the answer just by one glance.
Yeah, and he can trade other zombies just by showing them one time how to use the weapons or pick up weapons, and including assault rifles.
Yep.
And other things.
Yep. And he kind of looks like George Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, which leads to my
Just in
theory
power.
that this is actually a prophecy of what could have happened during 2020, where Trump started the zombie apocalypse by spraying zombie gas. The military probably has zombie gas somewhere in the Pentagon, but he sprayed it on the protesters, and then zombies happened. And that's the real big brain commentary. George Romero was just thinking years in the future. It's 4D chess. It's a 4D chess movie.
You know what? If he was still alive, I'm sure he'd take credit for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when this is true. So Hurricane Katrina happened, and assholes were making references to Diary of the Dead and Hurricane Katrina, and he was like, George was being interviewed. He was like, "Yeah, I called it." Oh yeah, you would be right, Randy. You would be right.
That's some weird ass facts.
Anyway, so in weird alt 2022, let's continue. The zombies are making their way towards Fiddler's Green.
That's at a brisk, whatever the speed zombies go at pace. Anytime that the movie realizes they've ran out of things for the characters to say, which is pretty sad because none of them have anything worth listening to, we jump over to the zombies.
Yeah. It's a complete opposite of the original trilogy, where the characters were well defined, they had good lines, they had personalities,
Exactly.
and everything.
And in the other
These
films,
guys are just
yeah.
there's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing there.
You feel nothing for any of these characters.
I mean, I feel the only thing I feel for them is recognizing them from the Super Mario Brothers movie or other films.
Yeah.
So right, you mentioned this. You mentioned the pit fight thing, which has a midget, a garishly dressed midget with a
Pip
cowboy hat.
midget.
Yeah, Pimp Midget, perfect name, Pimp Midget. Because I don't know. They called him Chihuahua, which I'm pretty sure is, like I said, they're at the point where they give each other their own names. And I completely forgot about our burned face man, the not special needs, but everyone calls him retarded for some reason. That's the movie's word, viewers, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I mean,
is
retarded, but
quoting the
whatever.
movie.
I just
Yeah,
want
this
to
is
mention
close.
that the dwarf actor is Phil Fontecaro, who was in multiple B movies.
Of
Mostly
course he
Charles
was.
Band. He was in Troll, The Creeps, a lot of B movies. Of course, the classic Blood Dolls,
Of course, classic.
classic.
So yes, fuck. So we've got them. Girl gets saved from the pit, like you mentioned. Bet on black or red, because then they spray paint the zombies' mouths with that edible spray paint, which I've heard tastes awful. So edible is not the term you really want for it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
But
non-toxic.
yeah, like the big boss sent her down, and like this Riley guy wants to leave. He wants a car, and Chihuahua has lost his car somehow, and well, that's not cool. So we have a fight, and they get arrested by, I assume, what are the police in this futuristic world of 2020.
and
Fucking
the chick Riley saves is played by Ozzy Argento, daughter of Dario Argento, who produced and co-wrote Dawn of the Dead. It's never been explained, like, did Romero cast Ozzy as a favor to Dario? Was it just one of those happenstance things? We don't know. But
and this is one of those times where they try to get us to feel for the characters, except our anti-hero Riley just, everyone's got a story, and I'm tired of hearing them. It's like, okay, you're really living up that anti-hero. You're just too cool to fool, but we all know deep down inside you're a nice guy, and you're going to prove me right later.
It's just
he has no real art.
cliches.
He has no
Yeah.
real art whatsoever.
Yeah, none of the characters have an arc. None of them,
Yeah.
except one, John Leguizamo's Chola, which
Yeah,
once
that's
again,
true. Yeah,
viewers,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and maybe Dennis Hopper.
sure, he has an arc, all right.
I mean, his arc is, oh no, this place is going belly up. I'm going to take my money bags and jump in my car and head off towards some other community.
Right, and then restart
So
the
long,
process all over again.
Tuckers.
Assuming
Yeah.
that another community would take his money, like
Yeah,
his
it's,
money
I
as
mean,
relative.
it's a retarded plan.
Yeah.
But you don't get eaten by zombies right away, so I guess, you work with what you have at the time being.
Well, no, it all depends on being able to break out of the ring of zombies that's enveloping the city, and that already
at
is
this point,
risky.
yeah, they've already, by now the zombies are actually in the city limits, which we find out when John Leguizamo, whose feelings have been hurt so muchly that he went and collected his little ragtag team of Matrix named character like Mouse and fucking Pretty Boy and fucking
Pillsbury.
no, Pillsbury is a different one. That's Kaufman's men.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But yeah, it's like I can't remember the names of the worst characters in this film. But I guess that's how they got me to remember their names, by making them so stupid I couldn't forget.
I don't know. Pillsbury would work as like the name for like some completely batshit Mad Max warlord who like cooks people in like a cremation oven.
No,
Or something like
Pillsbury is
that.
for a fat guy. And he was played
Well,
by a
no,
fat
he's
guy,
a
so
fat
that's how it
guy,
works.
but who like cooks people in a cremation oven.
He's played
And,
by
like, he-
a Hawaiian dude. I think he's a stuntman slash.
Sure, he's not Samoan, because the movie made sure to point that out.
Okay.
So yes, he's collected his Matrix crew, and they're going to go steal Dead Reckoning because they're going to attack Fiddler Green with it. That'll teach him not to give him his money.
At
He
least
said-
they'll hide from Kaufman.
Yes, and that's when the dun 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 the zombos appear and they start attacking people. And just like any other zombie movie in existence, no matter how well the people are prepared and planned out and have plenty of weaponry and whatnot, just a handful of zombies catching people off guard completely throws everything out of the loop. Doesn't matter.
I just want to say, like, in comparison to Dawn and even a Day of the Dead, you get very few shots showing a huge number of zombies. I mean,
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
I understand it's a kind of an issue with makeup appliances, but you look at Day of the Dead, like all the zombies had really good makeup. You saw at least 100 of those things. Dawn of the Dead, the makeup was a lot easier. It's just blue face paint because they're recent dead, blah 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 blah. But like, you don't see that many in a lot of shots. You see maybe a dozen. Maybe
Yeah.
over a dozen. That's
Including
it.
that one shot that does come up with them after they've jumped in the water. That
That's
was
about
beautiful.
it. Yeah, it's like 2 or
Yeah.
3 shots. That's it.
Yeah, when they came out of that water, like I said, they took that shot a little too long. They should have stopped it when they had it show them just all starting to come out together. That's when they should have broke it
I
away from that
guarantee
overhead shot.
Guarantee Romero thought it was cool. It's also an homage to another zombie movie called Shockwaves, which has Nazi zombies that are underwater like that, and they rise from the water just like that.
That sounds like a better movie.
It
Yeah.
is. It definitely is. It also has
Yes.
Peter Cushing in it.
So our John Leguizamo has stolen the completely craptastic turdmobile Dead Reckoning, which has got all kinds of cool shit on it, like fireworks. We completely forgot the sky flowers, as they call them in the movie,
Yeah.
where they shoot fireworks in the sky, and the zombies are just so mesmerized, them like a toddler, that they can just run around and steal shit. Which they could do, but they still attack the zombies and get their attention while distracting them with fireworks.
The fireworks were used as I think Romero said specifically fireworks were a callback to shock and awe during the Second Iraq War and everything.
Of course he
Amazing.
did.
I just need
yeah.
like a little tumbleweed pass by. Can I say something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, because a tumbleweed passing by is the response to this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Okay, so where were we at? Oh, yeah, so Kaufman. Kaufman's like, okay, he stole my Dead Reckoning. And then Leguizamo's like, hey, I'm going to hold your city ransom for $5 million, which still doesn't make sense if that money's no good outside of this particular system.
Also, why only $5 million? You know, why not?
Why
10
$5
million?
million? You got to. I can't. You can't pretend that a millionaire is like. How far does a dollar go there?
Yeah.
I mean, they mention a bottle of whiskey was selling Kentucky bourbon was
$1,500.
yeah, but we see like the entire
poor
fucking
people are-
shelves of them.
Yeah, the
So
poor people are. Yeah,
how fucking inflated is the currency?
Well,
Is
like,
it, is
the
this
guy
like
would-
Weimar Republic bricks of
Yeah,
dollar bill?
Zimbabwe billion-dollar bills. That's what they need. You know.
yeah, of course. Yeah, like the money makes no sense how it ever works. But yeah, he makes ransom. He's going to hold a ransom, and they leave behind their friend Mouse with his skateboard, which everyone loved to make fun of, which makes sense.
You forgot the line. You forgot the line. Kaufman has.
Oh,
Kaufman, Leguizamo calls Hopper up, and Hopper says, "We don't negotiate.
Negotiate with
terrorists."
terrorists.
Yes,
That's right.
commentary.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
People.
Yeah, more commentary.
Only the best cutting commentary.
Not
So
dated at all. Not
So
dated.
Yeah.
Kaufman's like,
Not
hey,
not going to
Riley.
be just puzzled at by future generations who look it up and go on a 2-hour Wikipedia search about early 2000s politics.
Oh yeah.
Now Kaufman knows that Riley is the guy who Kaufman is actually trying to keep Riley in the city because he's the guy who built Dead Reckoning. So he actually ended up stealing Riley's car so Riley couldn't fucking leave. Riley was pissed. There was a bit of a fight, blah, blah, blah. But now he's like, I need you to go get Dead Reckoning. You got some way to find it? He's like, yeah, I got a way. But he's like, he cuts him a deal. But not just any deal. As he's getting ready to leave and they're making fun of Burnface guy. See, I can't remember his name, so he must not be that cool. But, well, we left out the part where Burnface guy has a thing with a rifle where he licks it and he uses the glint off of the spit to make perfect shots where he shot the midget in a really bad CGI death shot because it's like every time I see somebody in one of these films die from like just a gunshot, it immediately makes me think of like South Park where the guy just goes bleh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also contradicts what was established in previous movies. This movie says it takes about an hour for someone to turn into a zombie after they're bitten. But in Dawn of the Dead, when I think it was Roger who was bitten,
Bruno, there's no fucking continuity.
Yeah.
Stop obsessing about the fucking continuity.
We don't even need to make the reference to that because in this film we watch a guy get bitten and then minutes later he's like a zombie, like minutes.
Even though the marketing said this is the next zombie film from the guy who created the zombie genre.
Just take the Mad Max approach. All of the films are just are like legends and tales being told by the descendants of the survivors.
Sure.
So there's no real continuity.
Except when there is.
Let's get this over with. So the zombies are marching. Go ahead.
No. Since I've already told this whole goddamn tale for everybody, I might as well just fucking finish it at this point. So we've got Riley, our titular hero, getting all ready for stuff. They make fun of his friend's face. That's when they drop the R bomb, the retard, straight retard in a movie.
Oh no.
Hard R.
Yeah, the hard R. So that's when Mr. Kaufman sends down his own people, and it's like, gosh, Dakota or something, some Chicago chick or whatever. Nobody cares about her. Rochambeau or whatever his name is. I'm named Dr. De Bullfighter. And he's got the little bullfighter thing on his shoulder. It's like, oh man, They gave us something to make this character stand out. Nothing bad's ever going to happen to his bitch ass. Fucking, and then Pillsbury, who everyone loves Pillsbury because he's our comedy relief.
I've heard that the guy who played Pillsbury, he's gone to conventions. He's very nice to people.
Oh yeah, he looks like a nice guy.
Yeah.
He looks like a fun guy to be around.
Yeah.
So they all have to go get some ammunition from the ammunition area. They didn't know that it's been attacked yet. So when they drive down there, they find who was supposed to be the soldiers and stuff, which has one of the coolest gore shots in the film. One of the ones that really stands out. But they're gonna go get some ammo. It's like, no, don't shoot here. But then they see all the gore, and then they see that shot of the one reaching in the mouth and pulling out the guy's
Tongue,
throat and stuff. It's like beautiful gore shot, beautiful. But they go and they get their ammo, and we come back to the Woody, as they're calling it, which is what looks like an El Camino that's been loaded up with guns.
Yeah,
And,
it's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, it looks really cool for like a street vehicle like that. Yeah, it looks like it'd be a lot of fun to drive around in. So that's when we get to meet Nearly Headless Zombie, which is
this fucking scene.
Yeah, where it's like he comes walking up, and Rochambeau is like, "Oh my!" and then the head just launched, like it's headless, we think, but then it launches back up over in the shittiest CGI shot probably in the entire film.
Yeah, and it's like its head is like held on with like vein. It's like nearly headless neck.
Yeah. It's like there's.
Wait, when did the fucking first Harry Potter movie come out? But it might have been inspired by that.
Maybe.
I was going to say Zombie 3, where a zombie head just becomes sentient and jumps off.
It's definitely some of the worst CG the movie has.
Yeah.
It's like some of the worst stuff. The head bites Rochambeau, and they got to do away with him. But then we find out as we drive away in the Woody that Riley is going to actually betray Kaufman, and he just wants Dead Reckoning for himself and crap. He just wants to keep it from attacking the city. And it's like, okay, and then all this stupid crap happens. Pillsbury punches a chick. And like after he winks at her, which makes it actually kind of funny. So we're building up all of this crap that nobody cares about. There's no drama whatsoever.
There's no gravitas. There's no
gravitas. You don't care about any of these characters. You don't care if any of them live or die. And to be perfectly honest, as far as fucking zombie films go, a lot of the titular characters make it out alive.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of the opposite of the trilogy.
I mean, usually when you see one of these films, we're lucky if we see 3 people left in that group ever make it out of that.
I've actually noticed, like, in the trilogy, we continuously grow from, like, more and more people surviving. So no one survived night. 2 people survived dawn. I think 3 people survived day. And now we have, like half a dozen.
12.
So.
Not even 12, because they bring when they start loading people onto a Dead Reckoning at the end. So it's like, there's tons of people left after at the end of this. And not just, like, nameless survivors, like actual characters. Because, like, Pretty Boy and Rocco, or whatever they call these idiots.
Rocco, Chaco, Ma.
Yeah, all their great names. So we've got Riley's met up with Cholo, because, like I said, that's their name, not ours. And they think Kaufman calls him up. It's like, well, he's attacking the city. It's like, oh, no, it's not him. The zombies have moved into the city, and one of the film's other, wokenesses, whatever the fuck you want to call it, commentary, is all the poor people are getting wiped out because they're on the street level with the zombies.
And also, it doesn't make any sense because we've established that these guys who have the community, they have walkie-talkies, so no one radioed in saying, hey, the zombies are storming the fucking city, they have weapons, we're fucked, get the fucking carts.
Like I said, once they start turning, it's like everyone just falls apart. Because if you remember, like the original Dawn of the Dead, with like it starts in the building with the police.
Yeah.
It's like we have no idea what's fucking happening. That makes a lot of sense because that would just be chaos in that scenario. But everyone knows what the problem is. It's zombies.
Mm-hmm.
if there's any correlation, which as far as we know, there isn't. So we got the zombies attacking the people in the city. We got the guys out at the Dead Reckoning arguing about some dumb crap that everyone has forgotten about. It's like, because it turns out that the device they can track with can also turn off Dead Reckoning remotely. Did that have a range? Could he just done that at any point? Did he have to get that close to do it?
No.
It had to be inside.
No,
they never explained that. Like, that would have been a great thing for him to explain when he showed that to everyone the first time. It's like, yeah, if I get close to the Dead Reckoning, I can remotely deactivate it and shit. But hey, I didn't write this movie.
The esteemed George Romero wrote it.
Yeah. So they want to get back to Fiddler Green because it's under attack and they want to save the people. And so they're driving back and they get stuck in a drawbridge. And our hero goes inside to turn it back on. And they get surrounded by zombies. And I can't, like we talked about this, can't imagine why anybody would be scared at this point because you are literally in the safest thing in the wasteland right now.
Yeah, our hero is outside, bringing down the drawbridge. Everyone else is inside, dead reckoning. This basically a tank, and they're surrounded by zombies. And they're like, "Oh, zombies have surrounded us!" It's like you're in a tank. Back up, run them over.
Which is exactly what they do afterwards, after they're all complaining about it. Which, by the way, they bring in a classic zombie aspect. Teleporting zombie was not there before. Miraculously shows up silently, unnoticed, until it can run up from somebody from behind, especially between two of the characters.
Yeah, Romero cheats a lot by having zombies just appear out of nowhere.
Yeah, we actually did the same bit for two different characters.
Yeah.
About, there's one behind you, but I'm not saying anything. I'm just going to shoot to kill it. Ha ha ha.
We saw that with the skateboard kid as well.
Yeah, yeah. They did a lot of that. They really like the sneaking up from behind shit.
To be fair, the skateboard kid kill was kind of saved by the fact that there was a clown zombie.
The clown zombie was a nice touch.
That's pretty cool.
The clown zombie was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we forgot about the kid because John Leguizamo was waiting for a boat that everyone knew was never going to come. Even he knew that by the way he was acting.
Yeah.
So they basically left that guy out there to die.
Basically, it was just to get another add more to the body count, basically.
Yeah.
So they finally get the dead reckoning across the bridge. Now we've got the people in the city, and by now the zombies have actually stormed Fiddler's Green. They're inside the tower and they're attacking people. I don't know if they got on the elevator because that'd be kind of hilarious if they did.
Yeah, I would have loved a scene of the zombies just walking through rich people tower.
Oh yeah, that would have been
just fucking shit up.
People jumping out windows and stuff.
Yeah.
That would have been great for something like that, freaking out. Yeah. But we don't get that. No, what we get is just more CGI zombie explosions, which also does lead us into another one of the incredibly awesome gore scenes in the film with the guy getting his face.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Great shot.
Yeah, we can't show that shit.
Oh, no. But like the practical effects, the practical effects were really what sell it.
Yeah. The practical effects are the old. I would say that's the one highlight, really. The practical.
Oh yeah, practical effects really sell a lot of this film because nothing else in this movie works because they start fire because before that shot they actually fired some sky flowers up there to distract the zombies. Where we get a cool shot where the zombies are looking up and then they just stop giving a shit and look back at all these people they've got cornered in this corral with an electric fence. So. It's the rich people, and it's the commentary that they're going to be devoured by the poor people who were eaten by the zombies beforehand, thus becoming a living mass, devouring the rich.
Commentary.
Thank you, social commentary. But
it doesn't work because they eat the poor people first, then the rich. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but that's how it's supposed to work because it's the problem. Is consuming the weakest people first and making it bigger, and then there's nothing left to stop them from eating the poor people, the richer people. Fuck, whatever. It's commentary.
Speaking of commentary,
it's not good commentary.
We get the death of Mr. Kaufman, who is the caricature of Bush. Who's she's like, I gotta done Russell out of here, goes out of here this town because it's gonna fill up on account of the zombies. Better grab my giant bags of money and go down to my limo.
You forgot the part before that, where after he's taken all that immaculate, perfectly clean money out of the vault, he comes out, and this guy who was arguing with him earlier in the film, asking those very rational questions in the scenario, because we're asking about our money because we gave you all of our money, and now you're talking about leaving with all of our money.
And, the old look behind you trick.
Yeah, the old oh no, look out behind you. He turns the guy around, forces him down to the floor, and shoots him in the head. And it's not like a 10-second scene. It's like in 3 seconds. Yeah. It's like look out behind you. Yeah.
It's legitimately great.
It is.
It's beautiful.
I love it. That's the other highlight right there.
Yeah,
that was one of the funny scenes in the film. So after that happens, him and his who we've left out the movie the entire time, his manservant, his
Colin
butler,
Powell,
his chauffeur, whoever you want to call him. Yeah, this guy's been in the film the whole time. We don't pay much attention to him because it's super racist. It's out of all
Yeah,
the racism in the film, this is definitely the racism is this part.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they go down to their private garage where they have a private vehicle waiting. They leave the money outside. They get inside. Oh no! Here comes Big Daddy, who has just got done earlier teaching a teenage zombie cheerleader how to use a machine gun. It's a learning experience. Oh, we got to miss the part with the drive. We don't need every little detail. The pile driver. I don't know why we're worried about every tiny detail.
Yeah, let's get on with that. So,
Right. So anyway,
rich
we get-
Mr. Moneybags, oil man, greedy guy is in his limo drinking his bourbon and with his
here
money
comes
bags.
Big Daddy. Here comes Big Daddy, and he's super. He comes on up to the vehicle. He's slapping it, and shit, and the chauffeur left, and he had the keys in his pocket. But Big Daddy walks over to the pump, and we get that reminiscence to him back at the beginning of the film, where every day he went outside and played with the pump, and nothing would happen. But this time he grabs it and squeezes, and stuff comes out, and you get this aroused. Because I think he's really enjoying that moment in his life. I think that's the first time a zombie orgasms in a film ever.
Yeah.
But
I would know about. I've seen a couple.
oh yeah, you
Yeah,
would know.
not from the fucking number of zombie pornos Bruno and I have both
Yeah,
seen.
such as the Porno Holocaust. That'd be one.
I just so he bashes the windshield with the gun that he's been carrying around for a while on it a few times. He shoves the gas pump inside, and then he just starts pumping fuel inside. And he wanders off. Now, honestly, if the guy was locked inside the vehicle and couldn't get out, that'd be a really fucked up way to kill somebody. with
Yeah,
gasoline.
that's
Yeah.
what I was fucking expecting. I was
But
expecting
then-
it. Wait,
But then we
wait.
realize
I
then we realize the guy's inside the car and has hands that are completely mobile, so he can just unlock it and get out. So he goes back and grabs his bags, but that's when John Leguizamo, who did get bit at some point, doesn't matter when because none of this stuff matters at all. He comes back and he wants revenge. He gets shot a few times, he falls down, and then he gets back up and he goes over and he starts choking Kaufman, and he's like, no, no, and then comes back Big Daddy. He just kicks a hilarious lantern down the hill, just rolls down, fuel everywhere on the ground, hilariously crappy. No, it's a real explosion, but it's not real bodies flying away with it. I mean, obviously, it's not real bodies ever.
yeah,
hopefully,
but it's just CGI thrown in.
yeah, it's just some CGI bodies flying through the air. Really bad, not fun to look at. But great explosion, great death. That's a great death in any film where a guy gets exploded at point blank range. I love any film like that. But
What I was expecting and what I wanted was, Big Daddy shoves the the gas pump in and starts pouring it, and Coffin's all like, ah ha ha, stupid zombie, or whatever, and then Big Daddy takes out a pocketbook of matches, and all the while other zombies have kind of shuffled in and are surrounding the car, and Big Daddy just burns Kaufman alive inside the limo.
that would have been cool. Or something like a money-related death would have been cool
Yeah.
too, because it's all he cared about was money. So something
They
money-related.
did have money burning in the shot.
They did.
which-
Oh yes, fall. Yeah, the symbolism, commentary. So, our John Leguizamo zombie gets destroyed in the explosion, and we've moved on. It's the Dead Reckoning has finally made it to the city, and yes, throughout beyond the fence, they can just see the people on the ground screaming, dying, getting eaten, and he's like, they shoot missiles. I think somebody said, "Don't do it." It's like, no, do it. They're fucking suffering. Somebody said something. Who doesn't matter? None of these characters matter. They shoot the missiles. They explode. It clears out the zombies, and then, much to Bruno's dismay, you just watch swarms of people who are just standing in the wings just start walking out moments after this happens.
Not
Yeah.
established where they were hiding.
Yeah.
Nothing. They were just over to the side, off camera. Basically.
Yeah, off
Like-
camera.
There's a way you could have done this smartly or betterly.
Well,
You
there's
have
an
the.
explanation for that later.
Betterly.
So
Go ahead.
I'll wait until the summary is done. Then I'll go over that.
Right. So yeah, we've reached the point where it's now the end of the movie, and some people are walking to get on the Dead Reckoning because they're going to North. They mentioned Canada a few times. It's like nothing's out there. That's the point. Oh, scathing. But he's loading people on the bus, and then we got this Murray guy we met earlier with his son who's sick, who's now all healthy thanks to the antibiotics they got him. Thanks,
I
foreshadowing.
completely missed that fucking subplot.
I didn't. It's not a subplot. It was introduced at the beginning, and then it's like introduced at the end. It's like you getting a subquest at the beginning of a video game, and then forgetting to turn it in until like the 11th hour of the game, and the guy rewards you like 10 herbs. That's what that was.
Then you realize you're playing like a Bethesda game and the quest is bugged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we drive off into the sunset. They shoot fireworks. I don't know what they're celebrating. I mean, like they had a really good place they were living at for a while, but they didn't like the way it was set up or whatever. I mean, fuck the rich, whatever commentary. And they drive off into the sunset and blah blah. That's the end of this fucking horrible movie.
You forget
No.
the zombies they see the
Oh,
zombies
yeah.
that slaughtered
forgot,
all
you're
these
right.
people.
Oh, yeah.
Caused
Yep.
all this bullshit. He sees the zombies. He sees Big Daddy. Big Daddy seems to see the guy when he's looking at through binoculars. They have that little moment, like, yeah. And the guy is like, no, they're just looking for a new home, just like us.
It's like, no.
Worst cringe
No.
line ever Romero has ever written.
No. You're just looking for a place to go. Same as us.
Yeah,
And it
that's
doesn't
like
make any goddamn sense.
Yeah,
These are
because
fucking dangerous zombies that could be fucking going to the next colony, destroying, killing God knows how many people.
I mean,
like,
it's a literal. It's
if
literally
it
almost
would-
a bulletproof army.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it would be a lot less cringe and maybe work. It'd be cheesy, but it would kind of work if they had established the zombies.
Well, what if it's more commentary? I just thought of it. What if it's more commentary? Like it's
Yeah.
literally, hey, what if we train these guys how to fight military-like aspects, and then later they turn on us and use our own equipment and tactics against us?
That would be the original script for Day of the Dead. That was the original idea for that one. So yeah, I mean, so the movie is just a complete train wreck, and
It is.
there's somewhat of a reason why it was. So this came out later. Fans asked for George, like, how did this happen and everything, and George basically said his budget was cut at the 11th hour by Universal.
Of course.
It was supposed to be something like 20 million. It was cut down to 15 million. So instead of rewriting his script, he just kind of just kept it the same. So he just cut out a lot of scenes explaining bullshit and everything. And it even went on that he was so disgusted with the production and everything that he walked off set on the last day and let second unit film. So
Wow.
it just goes.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, so it's just that would explain a lot of the shortcomings of the movie. I mean, I don't think it would explain some of the bad dialogue decisions, but it would explain why a lot of things are just not established, like what the value of money, how are they getting this power, this
Yeah.
How
how
does this society
And
function?
you
How do they
like,
feed
that's-
themselves?
I think that I really think that really fills into a lot of zombie movies we watch, because a lot of times when you sit down and you watch a movie, when it comes to zombies, you get two kinds, almost always the two kinds, and it's one that the zombie movie is going to be the beginning of the film, and that's like we're here at the beginning. It's the advent, it's the birth, and it's just people trying to survive the first few days of this.
Yeah.
Or you have the one that's in media res.
Yeah,
where
that's
it's
a good point. Yeah.
It's like people have been doing this for a while. I mean, look at Zombieland. Zombieland's a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
Like he's been at it for so long that like he actually has
Well,
rules.
it's not that long. It's like a few weeks, but again, in media res.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Low
But
budget
this-
would also explain like the shitty CGI gore effects too.
Right.
Yeah.
So this film kind of gives the impression that Fiddler's Green it's actually managed to establish itself. Like it's a solid ground at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just like a survival compound or some shit. It's an actual like city in a way.
A city of the living dead, if you will.
It's a city where it's like it's not like other zombie films. Like this is actually like solid and established and in the ground. Like this is like the people have settled into living in a world with zombies. They're
Yeah.
comfortable. You see it throughout the course of the film. Like they don't fear them because they've gotten so comfortable with the concept of them as though as long as they don't go outside, they're not really an issue.
So that goes
Yeah.
into what Romero originally was talking about the fourth movie. For a long time, he was saying this is before 9/11, and he was commenting on the fourth movie and everything. He was saying, well, the plot is like ignoring the problem. That's what he wanted. He wanted the commentary to be like ignoring the zombie plague. And I was like, how does that work exactly? I don't know. But then 9/11 happened, and he turned it a completely different script.
Yeah.
So this is not Twilight of the Dead. This is a new script, probably taking a couple of ideas from Twilight of the Dead, that just kind of rides that and kind of just curtails the entire thing with the 9/11 Bush commentary.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Which is kind of a shame because it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see
Coffee.
like a social structure that has arisen in a world governed by the logic of this series.
Yeah.
That people die, they come back as zombies. How does society adapt to this?
That may have been Twilight of the Dead. I know right now George Romero's widow has taken the script for Twilight of the Dead. It may have been unfinished after all this time, and she hired a consortium of writers to flesh out the script and everything. I knew one of the
Ew.
writers. So no. Before you say ooh, one of the guys I knew for like a million years ago, Joe Netter, very sick guy. He lives to write splatterpunk fiction. So
Ooh.
I have remained hopeful about it because Joe Netter, he was telling me about one of his ideas for a zombie movie and everything. His idea was that you have a mix of like running and slow zombies. So like when someone's
Oh,
first
yeah.
bitten, when they first infected, they're runners, right? And then over time, they become slower.
Yeah.
So he likened it to like sharks in a pack. So like you have a bunch of people walking around, you have a pack of zombies and they're slow, and then you have one or two runners that notice them and then start sprinting. So
Yeah.
I'm not like incredibly optimistic about Twilight of the Dead if it ever happens, but I think it's in good hands. I think it's in hands of the fans. So we'll see what happens there.
I want to add one last little thing. That City of the Dead thing you mentioned, Bruno,
Yeah.
that was actually supposed to be a video game based on one of George Romero's ideas. It showed up on E3, I think 2006, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah,
City
I know
of
that
the
there was
Living
a game.
Dead.
There was a game based on Land of the Dead, but it sucked.
But here's the cool thing about it is that it was one of the very first games ever to have a horde mode, sort of like in Gears of War, or like Nazi zombies. In fact, there's people still playing the PC version to this day.
They heavily modified it. Yeah,
to make it so that it actually fucking playable.
Yeah.
Cool. So that is, I think that wraps it up for Land of the Dead.
I'll give my rating for this. I'd give it like a 2 out of 5. Solely because I think it has some good ideas, and I like John Leguizamo a lot. But the fucking gore is hit and miss.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I was just bored.
I'd give it a -2 out of 5 because,
wow.
I mean, that means it's
the
so
memory of George Romero, Randy. Geez.
Motherfucker made Survival of the Dead. I'm gonna shit on his
well,
grave.
it's
this made Monkey Shines. Have some respect.
Well, no, Monkey Shines is like -5 out of 5. But yeah, this movie it's bad, but there's entertainment to be had from it. But it's not a class. I don't think it's a classic of, so bad it's good cinema. I think it's too slow to be that.
Yeah.
But it kind of carves out its own little. You know what? -2.5.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I'm weighing this on a bit, not just compared to the Dead trilogy, but comparing this to like every single zombie movie I've ever seen. So that includes Redneck Zombies, like. So I would give this honestly like a 1 out of 10. 1 out of 5. Just because good gore, decent ideas, the Tom Savini cameo. That's about it. Complete waste of Dennis Hopper. Complete waste of John Leguizamo. Bland, generic Milliquest characters that you don't give a fuck about.
Actually, I changed mine to 1 out of 5.
Yeah. 1 out of 5 is I'd be very comfortable giving it. It's still better than what came afterwards. Diary of the Dead and Survival, which are going to the negatives easily.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to rate Survival.
Survival might just be a 0. There's just no entertainment to be had from it, like legitimately or in a kind of so bad it's good way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a diehard. I grew up watching these fucking movies. I couldn't even finish watching Survival.
Survival, I've mentioned this to Bruno before. I saw it for free because the distributor, was that Magnet or Magnolia, usually puts their movies on for free like a week before their theatrical release.
You still pay too much. Still pay too much to see.
Yeah, I still paid too fucking much. I still asked for a refund.
Yeah, you should have been like, you owe me 90 minutes of my time back, sir.
I should go to Mark Cuban and tell him he owes me fucking $10.
Yep.
Asshole.
Burgermeister, what's your rating?
Absolutely the worst. 0.
Oh, that's
I
harsh.
got nothing for that film. It's like everything you guys said about the bad. The film's bad is just so overwhelming that it doesn't have any good in my eyes.
Wow.
And it's not like it's a personal thing. It's just this film isn't any better than like a sci-fi classic in my eyes.
Damn.
Like one of
I
the
saw
a sci-fi original, like one of the sci-fi original series.
No,
I'm talking about like a sci-fi film. I'm talking about like, you know how they had House of the Dead, UV Bowles House.
Oh
of
yeah,
the Dead?
yeah.
And then sci-fi got the rights to House of the Dead too.
And
No,
then
Uwe Boll produced House of the Dead too.
But
I would still say that was better than this.
But it was aired on Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh yeah.
It aired on Sci-Fi Channel, and that was better than this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it's just, this looks bad. It looks like the varying visuals, the spattering of awful special effects, and boring, uninteresting characters that you don't feel any attachment to. Like you said, Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo, both
Great
wasted
fucking
in this
actors.
film.
Great
Both
fucking
wasted
actors.
in this film. You
Yeah.
got like, those are the only two name actors in this film, and that's really sad.
You have Ozzy Argento as well, but I'll be honest, I don't think she's a good actress at all. She ruins all the films.
Oh yeah, she's the only reason I'm giving this a positive score is because she's actually kind of hot looking in this.
Thirsty.
Cool.
I'm fucking guilty of it, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I would totally fuck her.
Wow, dude.
I totally would, and don't fucking blame me, you asshole.
Be like, I like Suspiria too, Ozzy. Please have sex with me.
So that I think that puts the nail in the coffin of Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do next?
Was that pun intended?
Yeah.
All right, everyone have a good weekend.
All right,
Right,
take care.
All right, peace.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.
What's in the bags?
Money.
Whose money?
Watch out, get out, quick. Ours.